everybody, it's Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, live, which has been a while since I've gotten to spend the day with you and paint live. On the mic today is my husband, John.
Hi, guys. This
was one of the images that was voted on the Art Sherpa official on Facebook. Had a gazillion votes of the summer paintings. Then I just decided to do all the summer paintings because I was able to get the license for them. So today we're going to be doing the dock with sunset. I've got an 11 by 14 canvas. I've got my paint out. I'm going to update our materials list, and of course there's going to be traceable. But today I'm going to show you a couple new things for your landscape painting. I'm going to show you an easy trick to laying a landscape, even if you're not that much of a drawer. But hey, this is totally optional. This is just something if you want to know it, I'm going to show you this cool thing. And we're also going to begin this with an acrylic color ground, which just basically means I'm going to paint it all one color. But I like to say acrylic color ground. So, and of course, we're not going to underbind it.
Wow. So I have a question, though. Well, so what if you showed up and you were a Sherpazoid? Because there's already 350 people in our room, and we're just like crowding in here. So
I mean, so it used to be like if we had 300, we'd do this little thing. We're like, we are a Sherpa! And then we do a little dance. But now we realize some of you dance along. And so then you're Sherpazoids.
And we have a lot of people here to see our painting today. So it's pretty exciting.
This is going to be a great one. And I'm really going to show you a lot of just amazing tricks about landscape painting that I hope will translate from me to you and make things easier for you in your art journey. So this is going to be kind of a fun day.
This is really fun.
Fun day.
But it looks like we're gonna have to jump right into it here.
I got my sippy.
Do you? Or while you're at your sippy, I'm just gonna say hi to everybody because we have a huge crowd of people here. We're almost at 400 people right now.
Y'all are ready.
They're
to
still
paint the dock,
piling
right?
in the rooms. They're ready to paint.
Well, since we've got 400, we can do our wishes on live classes. If you're brand new here, if you've never come to a Sherpa Live before, we're gonna get to the painting in a second. But if you've never come to a Sherpa Live before, we like to put wishes or intentions on our canvas and then paint over them and hope that positivity goes into the universe. And I have some wishes that I collected up before the show. Carrie has a wish for healing. Esmeralda is looking for a wish to find her empowerment again. Just her personal power to feel strong and just confident back in her own shoes and her own life. Elizabeth has a really touching wish for her husband to be pain-free. And then there has been a general wish for all of the Sherpettes and their family members who are currently battling cancer. We have a lot of people who are currently in some part of the battle of cancer. And so we're just wishing healers for you, the recovery for you, and the strength that you guys need. And then there's been a lot of wishes for a deeper understanding of anxiety and depression, and that's just definitely when I agree. I just would love to see the whole world recognize this is just something that needs more compassion, more understanding, more treatment, more support. And then this was one that really, really got me, which is a battling for those, strength for those battling with eating disorders, which is a type of depression itself as well. And I think probably one of the least understood conditions, and I would just wish that if you're going through that, just know you're brave to be in that, and it's rough to not be in a good space with your food. It really is, and you deserve compassion and understanding in that struggle, and I really hope you have the support teams around you that you deserve. So I'm going to paint in my acrylic color ground. Over here, so I got my 11 by 14 canvas. This is a canvas board, and it's pre-gessoed. They come pre-gessoed, so I don't really need to re-gesso it. I have put out the optimistic colors, titanium white, Indian yellow. You could use Australian sienna or any Cad Yellow deep. Cad Yellow medium. In this particular case, I did raw umber. You could do burnt umber. I've got some yellow ochre here, some Mars black, some Cad red light, Ultramarine Blue, Alizarin Crimson, and then as a weird backup, just in case I'm in the middle of it and I realize I need it, I put aside some burnt sienna and some Dog's Purple, but I don't think I'm going to need those. These are just here if I get into it and I'm like, you know what, I do need them. And I just heard thunder, which is never a good sign for the broadcast. Mr. Cooney.
That was Texas thunder, too.
Yeah, no. All right, so let's paint fast. So the first thing I'm going to do is just cover my whole canvas in raw umber. And I'm going to take a bright to do that. This is actually I might even
Oh,
Okay.
and
I think this is going to be a big enough
I'm going to
brush
pass
do.
on that, you know,
I'm going to switch to this brush. I want a slightly bigger. See how this is just slightly bigger? Mm-hmm. I'm going to go slightly bigger because I won't get it done.
I want you to know that Therese here has put a wish in her canvas for you to whip your thyroid problem.
Oh, thank you very much.
I thought that was very sweet. I just wanted to let you know.
It'd be nice if they would just be like, Hashimoto's, no more.
It's like,
Very cool. So this is just a 1-inch stiff nylon. And I'm going to I have a little water on it. What's nice about the synthetic filaments is they don't over soak in water. So I get the right amount. And this is a lot of the mystery of why my canvas is covered pretty well, is the brushes and the paint I use and the amount of water. It's sort of a little dance. So I'm just going to paint this all with this very neutral umber. Mm-hmm. Now listen, if you only have another kind of brown, just use the other kind of brown. It's okay. You know, sometimes you have to be very specific, you know, when you're, you know, doing certain types of color mixes and certain types of paintings. But a lot of times, more than the actual hue, it's the value. So what I'm saying is more than the color, it's the value of the color. So you can have real issues with your hues and be really great at your values and still be okay. And this is a pretty thin coating, not so thin it's going to underbind. Which means I haven't added so much water the paint won't work.
I have to say, our community is so awesome. They opened up the Houston radar, and they're like, it's the cells north of us, so we're probably going to be okay. We just gotta watch the weather. So everybody's got good wishes out there for us.
And our community has a hysterical weather app. Janine showed it to me where it gives you the weather in sarcasm.
I think that's just great. It's one of the funniest things.
It's pretty good. So I'm getting this in. This is going to help my paint cover better. Mm-hmm. This is going to kind of glow through because it's brown. It's very neutral, right? And it's going to give my painting a more professional finished look in the end. So it's a nice little trick. I don't always do it. Sometimes you can just do an underpainting. Sometimes you can do a ground. Sometimes you can just rough this stuff in a whole one way to paint a painting. Just a lot of different ways. And I'll show you a couple. All right. Now I'm going to do that. Behave. All right. Rinse this little sucker out and lay it flat to dry. I'm going to have to hair dry this and sip my coffee, which leaves John to his very favorite talk to the community part of the day.
I do. I have to turn this down. And I go, so I'm really excited because there's a lot of us out here today, guys. Oh my gosh, there's so many people here. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to put on some background music so that while you can something, make it work, please. Oh, there it goes. I'll turn that down a little bit. Okay. So, hey, wow, there's a lot of folks out here today. I wanted to say thank you to all you guys because, I mean, this is really just nice to come back. And we've got almost over 460, 470 people here right now. Thank you. Wow. I can't wait to see all your guys' paintings. I've been looking out over this last Shark Week, and there have been so many exciting paintings. And then we had the Bubble Witch came up, and the Bubble Witch painting was really, really nice. We saw all those. And man, it's been really fun to see all of the paintings that have been coming up. So thank you guys for sharing all those. And I'm looking forward to seeing more because Cinema's got a whole bunch of plans for this fall. And I've been excited about seeing some of the paintings and with Space Week coming up, and we've got all of our Eclipse paintings coming. So I'm really excited about seeing all of this stuff coming up that she's doing with you guys in the community. Because we've been seeing so many paintings coming. Oh, let me turn this.
We're participating in Shark Week so much.
Yeah.
I know I had a little moment there.
Well, I've seen so many good paintings come back in, and it's been so exciting to see some of those. So
Space Week is gonna be awesome. And we're gonna keep doing these summer paintings.
Yeah.
So it's lots of fun stuff.
All right.
So I'm gonna show you a cool kind of. We like to use the word art hack, but mostly because it's trendy. This is just something artists do. So let's call it an art hack so we can be on point with this. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to grid my canvas into 4 parts.
Into 4.
Right? So I'm going to come down and say I'm going to divide my canvas in half. So if this is an 11 by 14, half of it would be about at the 7-inch mark. Right? And then the other half of it would be at the 5.5-inch mark, right? Right here. So when you line those up, all the way, and actually did it pretty good by eyeball there almost. You're going to be dividing your canvas into 4 parts. Now I am using a T-square because I don't have that straight of a line, and that helps me a lot. And these are very inexpensive. I get these are by Westcott, and I get them for just a couple bucks.
Yeah, I want to say it's like under $5 on Prime.
Yeah. And they have them in Michael's too, and they're not going to break your bank.
Yeah.
And then we're going to pull out our reference photo that y'all picked. And notice what I have done here, because let's see if it shows on the robot cam. Yep. I folded it, I printed it out.
Yeah.
And I just folded it in half. And then again in half.
And half again.
And now I have a way to lay in my painting, even if I'm not a drawer, so that my proportions are accurate to my reference. Let me show you how I can do that.
So now we have picture in picture of picture.
Picture in picture of picture. It's Inception. All right. Probably not that exciting, but still. So one of the things that I can see is that...
There are birds.
What?
There are birds.
I
see there are birds.
My pier, right? It's going to stop just a little bit below my little halfway mark, right? And I just want to proportionally kind of put it in about the same amount of space, right? So I'm going to make a nice little soft line here. It could be a little bigger than I think the end of the pier is going to be, right? And then I've noticed that this corner comes from just inside, just a hair, inside this little line. And it's going to bisect, it's going to get smaller, tapered up here. Don't do that. Hold your ruler much more firmly and authoritatively than I have, right? And this never draw this in this way.
Hold on.
What?
Because the intertubes are giving us trouble.
Oh no.
It is one of those things. But hold on. It's looking like it's going to be okay.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's chilling out. I'm watching...
I'm going to do this because I can't get a good angle on my...
While you're doing that, I'm watching the buttons over here. It's a little choppity. I'm going to see what I can do here to unchoppity it.
A little perspective. Let's see what we think of that. Look at that dock.
Yeah.
And a vanishing point. These are just not natural proportions for what you think you're going to have. Right? And I can even narrow this a bit if I want to. But if you look at this, like how deep does this go versus how deep? I've got to leave room also for this ropey thing. Alright. So I've got that here. And then almost at the halfway point between my bisecting line and the top of my canvas is this sort of horizon line on my canvas. So I can just sit there and kind of eyeball that in. I don't have to be that exact. I just want to know that right about here, I have that. Now once I have all this in, I can even come back later to help get my posts in. I can use my square and my chalk pencil. Mm-hmm. And so I'm not relying on my ability to freehand something.
Yeah.
Right? This is really about my ability to sort of like go, okay, well, if this is divided in chords and this is divided in chords, where is this going to all work out at? And weirdly, when it's all done, it should look, in theory, pretty okay. If I can get my little lines correct, which I never can. But you guys get the gist. You get the gist, right? Just in my jam here. And what's interesting is like when we come through, it can help us lay in our boards, which can be really a challenge. On any of these 4 shortened pieces. Right? Mm-hmm. So now, and you don't really think of this when you're looking at this. Look how much of the base of this paper this takes up. And if you were to take this to the end, you can see how much of the base of the paper this takes up.
Yeah.
So that's just not something your brain naturally wants to do when it's translating 3-dimensional objects to this space. Now I'm going to come in. I'm going to sippy my
sippy.
coffee. Because, you know, it's not like y'all give me ever like a super simple challenge where you're like, hey, here's this phone and in picture. Never.
Well, we're gonna be dancing through raindrops today.
Are we?
Yeah.
Is it like?
It gave us a little static here a little bit ago, but I think everything's going well now. And
The good news is, as long as I keep going,
yeah. See, I'll just keep
generally
resetting
the
it.
whole thing keeps going. So I'm going to put out what I think my palette of paint is going to be. And you'll notice today I'm using different brands. And really that's about that this is just who had a full tube today. And sometimes I get asked if people can paint different brands of acrylic together. And you can see these are all definitely different brands of acrylic. They're all pro, but they're all definitely different brands of acrylic. And I could have student paints in here. It wouldn't affect it. Acrylic paint should technically work together. I'm using some Alizarin Crimson. I could use some naphtha. I'm just needing 2 colors of red. A cool red and a warm red.
Yes.
And that's what's sort of going on. And I'm using a couple values of yellow. I'm sure I'm going to need some Indian yellow. I know for the sun and some of this area here, I'm going to be putting out some Cad. I don't need that much. And for this painting, I'm really saying, hey, I'm going to do real Cad because real Cad glows. And hue, while it is the same color, doesn't glow. Go figure. So I'm going to have 3 yellows. But this is really actually part of my browns. I heard that.
Yeah.
I heard it and it made me nervous. And I don't need any black for a minute. Right? And really I'm going to be looking at, do these 2 make a purple that I like? Because if they don't, then I'm going to get my Doc's purple as my emergency thing. Paint colors are really about what colors. This is about doing that color chart from the Big Art Quest and sort of knowing what your paints will do together and relying on it.
Now, could you use a black canvas for this painting?
Yeah, you can use a black canvas. You got a black one lying around, you can use a black canvas. The only thing that you might find is that your yellows struggle to cover the black and you may need to paint them white first. That's all. Just depends on your paint and how it likes to behave. I'm going to get my number 10 Bristles and Bright out. I'm going to get it wet. Again, this is synthetic filaments. Not every brush I have is synthetic filaments, but I do like them quite a lot. And I'm going to start putting in my sky. And the first little bit of my sky that I'm going to start getting in, I'm going to get just a smidge of my alizarin over here into the sky. And hopefully it's going to... What I'm trying to do is gray this blue a titch. Like you do. And I'm going to put out some glazing liquid. I don't like landscape painting without glazing liquid in my studio because my studio is an easy bake oven.
And what does that do?
This is going to slow down the drying time of my paint and improve blendability.
Gotcha.
Now, your sky.
My sky?
Probably the lightest object generally on your painting and lighter than you think. And I feel like I'm going to drop my horizon line down a bit.
Okay. Why are you doing that?
Because I'm looking at the picture, I'm looking at this, and I'm like, that's not the same. It's just a hair.
So, clearly, as the host of the show, you should put something in your mouth so we can clearly hear what you're saying.
Yes. Yes.
I see.
This is my other hand. So I'm going to, oh yeah, I like that. I spent a lot of time looking at this, deciding what blue to use. Did I want to have phthalo? And I just kept going. It was going to have to be a cobalt or an ultramarine. If it was going to be a sort of dusty blue like what I felt like I was seeing in this painting, I just felt like that was just going to have to be its thing.
And we'll put a list for all of the...
Every material, traceable, everything in the description. So what happens on YouTube is after a live event, YouTube has a think about what you did.
Right. It processes.
It processes it, which is why sometimes you guys can't see a video right after we do a live. And once it's done thinking about it, having a think, it will generally put the video up. And during that time, I update descriptions and other kinds of things. So you'll notice that the brown paint is showing through, glowing through, being part of this composition. I am rinsing out my brush. Now I'm feeling like my Cad red and my Indian yellow are going to be the jam here. I'm going to let a little of my phthalo dust into my brush to gray this. This is interesting. because I don't want anything too bright. And I'm going to start trying to lay in this more orange part of my composition, which is fun for me. Hope it's fun for you too. Just kind of putting this layer in.
I think it's fun. We got over 500 people here with us, and I mean, this is so wonderful. I can't tell you how awesome it is.
I would love if y'all were
exciting.
painting too.
There are a lot of people who are painting with us. And I see a lot of a lot of new friends, a lot of our old friends. I see Cheryl and Kim Sim.
Hi,
I think
Kim.
I think I saw
Cheryl.
CPG here earlier.
CPG came by.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, we're celebrities if we got a CPG visit.
And so it's it's just nice. We have all of these folks with us, and it's just wonderful to come out and have a painting day where we get to hang out with our community and see.
It is. I'm making my orange darker as I'm coming to my horizon line, and I'm moving my brush to the edge of the bristles. And I'm using some directionality in my stroke to imply the sky. And you can see how the brown underneath is creating a warmth, which is really helpful because I need it to be warm.
So how many hoots do you think this one is? How difficult is this? When we say hoots, that's we used to refer to things on a scale of 1 to 3 hoots of
We're going to need to up our hoot levels too, because a bunch of you have grown your skills so much, and now you're like, I'd like a workshop, please. So basically it's 1 to 3 hoots. Things that are 1 hoot and under are really accessible to brand new painters who have either never painted or haven't picked up a brush in a really long time. 2 hoot paintings are... You've got some paintings under your belt. You kind of figured out how some of this acrylic stuff works. You've got some dry brushing, some blending, some understanding of blocking and skills, and you're feeling a little confident. You want to try something more challenging than the really simple paintings. And then 3 hoot is that you really built up some skills. Maybe you're 25 paintings in, and you're looking for something more challenging. You're looking to take on a more challenging painting, but you're finding that regular painting classes are not that informative. Some of you guys might have noticed that. It's sort of like I'm going to stand here and paint and you absorb it by osmosis. Which is really, at that point, you shouldn't have hoots. It should be just like you just know how to paint. You're just hanging out with your art friend, stealing their skills. So it's 3 hoot is like you're not really designing everything on your own, but you're getting there. And I would say this is definitely closer into 3 hoot because we got some forced perspective. We've got some layers, but even if you're brand new, watching it is going to unlock stuff for you. I'm going to get my brush a little wet because I sat there and monologued like a villain for a second.
Did you?
Yeah, why not? We get so many notes on that from YouTube. You talking. Yeah, I know. I talk when teaching class. It's crazy. So I'm just pulling this. I really picked the Indian yellow for this because I wanted a warmth to this part of the sky that would be luminous.
But did you tell us how many hoots this was? I know you told us 3. Okay. So
3.
I was like, I know you monologued about like what hoots were.
Hey, call me on it, man. I could forget to mention the point. So
I didn't,
John is totally allowed to, like, if anybody knows to be like, hey, sweetie, you got lost and wandered around in a circle for a second, and I just thought you might want to know. He's the guy to do it.
Yeah.
He's been here. We're coming up on our 20-year anniversary, so
Yes.
if anybody can tell me I've lost my way. So I'm just trying to create this. If you look at the picture, there's some beautiful stridation to the sky. And that's something that I definitely want to keep in this. There's a bunch of special stuff happening right here. But getting this warm glow, it's mission critical to the finished piece. Mission critical to the finished piece. Did I put some Cad Yellow out? Yes, I did. So in this space, there is a mild glow of Cad Yellow, and there is nothing but only Cad is like Cad.
Right.
It's one of these weird colors. They make it chemically. Don't eat it.
It's chemically.
Yes,
created.
I like Cad Yellow medium. Me and Bob Ross and Thomas Kincaid, all big fans. You know, at least I'm in good company.
Oh, there's a little rainbow on your palette.
Is there?
See right in the I just saw it. The orange,
That's cool.
yellow, blue.
So I'm going to do
like
a
your
little
sky.
bit of a glow here with this yellow. When you used to go in the Kincaid galleries and they would turn on all the lights and the paintings would glow, the reason that they glowed is because he painted with cadmium yellow. And it's not radioactive or anything, it's just an optical effect. So see how this is just really, really bright in the space? And I'm doing these little brush strokes across, pulling this out, creating sort of some unevenness and making sure that in this part of my world, this is pretty darn good, right? So now we've kind of got this. Because we're going to do a little light effect right here that we're really into. Got to get that in. Now, I've got a little more work to do here to pull this part of my sky into the other part of my sky. So interestingly enough, I'm going to take this into my blue, this orange that I made into my blue. I still want it to be blue. I'm going to get quite a lot of white. And I'm going to try and seam this cool blue part of the sky into this warm yellow part.
They're asking why you go through the trouble of doing the brown background if you're just painting over it.
Well, honestly, even though it's painted over, it glows through the paint. Some of your paint is transparent. This will create a warmth that permeates through the painting.
Ah, so this isn't just covering 100% over that.
No, it doesn't, and you shouldn't expect it to. I don't know if the robot cam is picking that up.
I can zoom in a little bit more so we can see a little bit more. But as you zoom in, you'll see that there's a lot of that brown that actually shows through. And
even as I layer, it's still going to have some of that, going on. I'm going to get some more of my orange in here, as you do.
As you do.
Because we're creating this space where these two parts of the sky, are optically bleeding together, right? And it can be complicated at first when you're beginning to understand how does that ombre happen. You think it's at first you're like, maybe it's a blending I'm not understanding, but it's not. It's just about understanding how these layers will pull together and then how these paints look next to each other. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do a little more blue here because I want this to range a little titch more. Ooh, that makes me so nervous, Mr. Cooney. I hear the storm.
Huh. That's rain. That's just rain.
That's true. All right. Now you can see I've taken this more to the blue. This kind of landscape is a lot of fun to paint. It used to be, before photography, that you'd have to go out, catch a color study of this real quick, and really try to capture it later. Mm-hmm. Kind of a challenge if you've never done it. But now that we have photography, it gives us a chance to really sit and spend some time with the atmosphere.
Now, are you using a blending medium?
This is actually blending because the paint is wet into wet. I do have the blending medium here, which is the gloss glazing liquid. It's just keeping my paint from drying out on me really, really fast in these conditions.
Gotcha.
Because these are rough conditions.
So you may not need it at home, depending on your environmental conditions.
Now I'm going to scumble some light cloud effects and start scumbling some cloud effects into the sky.
What do you mean by scumbling?
Because I'm going to demo it.
Ah.
So this is a number 8 cloud, and I actually have this brush made so I can scumble easier, but you can use any bristle brush at the corner, and I have a ton of videos demoing that. I'm going to get a little of my blue and white together. I don't want a pure white, but I want it to be white enough to read as white on the canvas. So can you see how that's sort of off-white from the white?
Yeah.
And I'm going to come here, and hopefully this is dry enough. The trick about scumbling, which is just sort of a dry scratching motion on the canvas, and you're just leaving little scuffed up bits of pigment. I think I need to dry this again. Oh. It's got to be dry.
Oh, okay.
Got to be dry.
Dry it down. There she goes. Okay, so while she's doing that, I'm going to say thank you guys. Man, huge crowd of people coming and hanging out with us today. And, Cinnamon doesn't get to see the chat. So, because when she does, she just, she reads the chat and doesn't paint. And so I generally try to read the chat to her. So she doesn't get to see all the wonderful comments you guys are making. So thank you so much today. Really appreciate all of that. And, oh my gosh, the people from all over the world with us. I see everyone. There's just so much love out here. And it's very nice. So, oh yeah, don't forget to post up your paintings. Check us out on TheArtSherpa.com, where you can find out more information about this. We have Space Week coming up this week, which I don't think we have too many pictures up yet, but we should have some up soon. check back on our calendar on the website for that. We're going to be updating that here today and tomorrow with a bunch more information. Because that goes out, it goes out once a week, and our days are kind of moving around. We're not sure what day we're going to settle on, but we get that newsletter out about pretty much once a week, and it has an update of all the videos and things that we do during the week. And
because we put so much stuff up, you might miss a couple things.
Yeah.
I am now dry. So something I want to say about scumbling and dry brushing. If you're using glazing mediums, it is very easy for your canvas to become tacky and sticky. And this can fight your scumble. So I'm trying to scumble in an upward angle. I'm adding a little more drama to this sky. This is my artistic privilege because I want to create more action line. This piece is actually pretty static. You know, the birds and all of it is weirdly still static. So adding these little elements of drama can help it read more action-packed while still remaining very serene. This is a good piece if you're trying to give somebody something to help their well-being or their mental calm. And I think this would be a really good piece to paint for mental calm. Anytime you have a road or anything leading to a sunrise or sunset, it helps generate a feeling of optimism. I was reading a bunch of stuff on that, and they were saying these are good pieces. And I've done some artwork for hospitals and stuff, and they had some really interesting guidelines about what you want to give people. So if you've got a friend or somebody that's just trying to feel good, this could be a good piece to do for them. And this is a good way to spend your time yourself, just kind of chillaxing and letting. This is like the opposite of technology. Even though we're doing it through technology.
Well, technology, when done right, should be invisible like magic.
It should. Oh, now we got into John's soapbox. So I'm going to add in the distant hills and kind of buildings and stuff, and I'm going to put out a smidge of black. Sometimes people, in landscape painting, you'll find people have very strong opinions. And one of the strong opinions that they'll have is that you can never use black in a painting, that you can only use chromatic blacks. And that is kind of true. That's really a preference, though. That's an artist preference. Sometimes artists, when they develop a very strong preference, they get the impression that it's a rule. And I think we all fight it. I fight it. Every artist fights it. But there isn't really one. There isn't a real rule. So I'm going to just put some of this back. And when I'm looking here, I've got some very distant hills and distant colors that are quite soft. And then they pull forward. And one of the things that I've got are these clouds. Now the clouds, to me, look as if they are a little of this Alizarin Crimson. Yep. Don't need the dogs in purple. See, woohoo! And this blue. And it's going to create this sort of deep grade purple. And I'm going to actually switch down into a smaller cloud brush. No, you just look at things and you're like, I'm going to go smaller. So I'm going to load up this is a number 4. If you're painting a bristle brush, it just might be, if the corner's too big, you'd want to just do the corner of your bristle brush, the other way. And I'm going to add some little, let's just say up here there's like some light little wispy guys, right?
Wispy guys.
Little distant bits of fluff. And then there's some interesting fluff. I'm going to try to make my fluff a little more interesting than what I have here, but there's some interesting fluff across the sky. And when you look at clouds and they're in shadow, sometimes it kind of blows your mind because you think of clouds as light, white objects when they're kind of really not. They're mostly shadows with some highlights. So see, I'm just kind of squiggling my brush around and pressing. If you're using a Deerfoot stippler, similar process, just into the foot of the brush, dry brushing it. See how there's so much, there's like a dusting.
Yeah.
This is another way to blend acrylics. So there's wet into wet, and then this is another way that you can do it. So I'm going to probably focus my sun here. I'm going to give myself a mark so I don't get lost in my cloud making. Because I could totally get completely lost in my cloud making and be like, what? Wait.
Just gazing off into the clouds. That's the thing that's changed the most since I've been watching you paint
Huh.
is that I look at the sky differently.
You do, actually. John asks me all the time. He's like, what do you think we use to paint that? What colors do you think those are? That's a really neat sky. That'd be really interesting to paint. I like those highlights there. That'd be good for the show.
Yeah, I like the paint. I like the clouds that won't translate into paintings because they have real weird figure foreground reversal because of the lighting that happens.
And I'm always like, that will make no sense in a painting. People will think you've lost your mind.
Yeah, you try to paint a tube of clouds and it just looks weird. So
I'm sort of doing what I talked about earlier, which is creating. I have this guy here, which you guys are seeing in the reference photo, but I actually, again, I'm thinking of, the Sonora Desert. I'm thinking of different kinds of skies I've seen that I really personally enjoy. And I like it when there's this sort of in there. Now, I need to put in another low bank back here, a couple little low banks of stuff and distant stuff. And then I've got to warm up the bottom side of these clouds and around them to make them very dramatic. So I'm going to just come here and let's add some.
And we've got just so you guys know, there's been little thunders, little bits of like that. If we have any trouble, I will be on top of the stream. Slate or go out too bad, then I'll stream and see if we can get it to straighten back out. But it just it sometimes requires a little patience.
Just running this little cloud here. Maybe a little. See, these are little bits of this. And sometimes it's just about putting these little soft stories in. Just saying, just wiggle, 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 wiggle. I love particular cloud stories. Floating away in the clouds today takes everything you've got. Yeah, I did that. That happened. Those of you that watched Cheers went, oh no. Why did you do it? I don't know. Happens. So now I've got this Cad red light and this kind of alizarin and phthalo purple. So I'm going to take my purple here, but now I'm going to come in and add a ton of my Cad red. Well, a smidge really, I guess. Ton would be like all of it. But what I'm doing is I'm warming it up, and I'm going to even get my Indian yellow in there. And I'm going to come to the underside of this and warm up this cloud. Warm it up on the bottom. This one could have just a little warmth as well on the bottom. Isn't that interesting? Not all of them have this, but where they do, you need it. It's not an option. Not optional. Maybe put a little here. So I'm just adding that warmth. And I'm going to come in with some yellow, some of my Pier Cad. And I'm going to come on the outside edge of some of this and just add. See how it's nice? You just need a brush that will let you do this on a precision level. I'm just going to come to the edge of this. Edge of it. See how we're just like at the edge of it? You can even come on the underside. We're just haloing these here in this intense yellow. And I'm even coming here. I know I'm going to be on the outside here, haloing out this yellow. Look at that. Yeah. Getting that glow to show. It's really tough to get the glow, glow, glow. Glow, glow, glow. I'm just making sure that these all have a little bit, just paint there. And even up here, what does it need? It needs a smidge of this. The Indian yellow as you go up is overpowering. So I'm going to do.
Now, if you don't have one of these brushes, you said in the past use like an old brush that's kind of stiff.
A stiff bristle is fantastic. Let me show a small, like anything in this size. So I'd actually prefer these. What you're looking for in your bristle brush, not a bristle great. You can use any bristle brush as long as it's dry.
Yeah.
Most bristle brushes, when they get wet, get soft. If you have a bristle brush like this one here has a blend of synthetic filaments and natural bristles, so you can dry it back out really easily and keep working it. So, and I have so many cloud videos where I've made a point of just doing it with different brushes, because it's really, I love my tools, but it's never the tool. It's not the tool, it's not the paint, it's you.
Right.
You know, you could come through here with a toothpick and be like, toothpick this whole painting
Or
because I has
Q-tip.
time. Huh?
Or Q-tip.
Or Q-tip it. That is, some of what has, like, went with the Q-tip. Like, I paint anything with the Q-tip. Watch me go. Watch me work, watch me nay. So, I'm a weird person. Just saying it.
Now, can you recap the colors of paint you've got out there?
So right now, I have Alizarin Crimson, Ultramarine Blue. I have raw umber, but you could use burnt umber. I have yellow ochre. I have a smidge of Mars Black, titanium white glazing medium, Cad Yellow light, Cad Yellow medium, and Indian yellow, which you could use Australian sienna or any yellow deep.
And they were wondering, we never did find that disappearing smidge of yellow.
No, man.
There's been several people asking, did you ever find that missing yellow?
It is still missing. And
What?
we're very sure the dog didn't eat it.
Yeah,
That was like our next fair. We're like, did the dog
It's a big plop of yellow.
I know
So
I'm
it's-
spending a lot of time pushing this little bit here, but this little bit here, it's going to matter. I'm going to add a little dusting of it so it feels believable when it carries down. But I may end up... All right. So once I have that, and I'm feeling pretty darn happy with that. In fact, I actually kind of like it a little better. Watch this cool trick. So I'm going to take this small bright. You may want to use an even smaller brush and get it wet. And I'm going to pull out a little of my white. I might use a smidge of the Indian yellow, but I want it to really be white. The yellow in it is just to keep it from being a bright, bright white. I'm going to come on the edge of this. On my edge. Curling it up. Here we go. And that's how I'm going to get that in. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
You're like, man, if I just knew this in grade school, I would have owned sun. See? So that's how we get that crazy little half sun in there. And once you have that placed in, then you can safely, and you can come in, and I like to combine the Indian yellow and the Cad Yellow and just on the inside of this, brighten this just a smidge. See? Just a smidge. Oh, that feels really good. Let's put in some back faraway hills. I'm gonna get my Alizarin and my Ultramarine. And mix them together, and it's gonna make a nice dark color. And I'm gonna come along here. I'm going to just make a horizon line. And then and very soft. These faraway hills.
Wow, that's pretty exciting. We have all with us. We have little brushes watching us.
Really?
Adam, who's 7, is watching along with
Hey,
us. So
Adam.
he's pretty excited about this.
Thank you for joining us today, Adam.
Yeah.
I appreciate that a bunch.
So we always like to have little brushes along. That's
Just a smidge of black over to my purple mixture. Because this particular bank, this particular form, is much more solid. Now I can look at how far away from my center point does this landmass go. See? So if I was just having a little trouble thinking about where do I end it, this little quadranting makes a huge difference. Look at that. Just going to pull that down. And you can see already how just having the layer of paint, besides the fact that everything's sticking to this very well, just creates that warmth. And I need my warmth. Probably hot coffee.
I think that solves all your questions. I
Always
need
hot
some
coffee.
coffee.
I'm going to switch over to the corner of my brush so that as I press down these little strokes, there's like this subtle, soft unevenness in some of the space. And that's going to make it feel like maybe there's some plants or something in the distance. Woo! You watch me work. Oh, I'm just getting more of the same color. I'm just doing this little tap, 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 tap. I told you I was going to actually show you how to paint this today. So, we're actually doing it today. So it's a painting party style painting. It's just not a painting party painting. It's a little more challenging. But the same principle works. You just explain the steps. See, I'm just up and down, up and down, up and down, back and forth. And now I found this space. And then you just evaluate. Are you happy?
Hold on, I have to get back over so
It's okay. You just evaluate. You're like, and so here's something that you can do that I can't do easily, which is step back. As often as you can, do two things. Step away from your painting, and it's sometimes nice to take a picture and look at it really small. Make it small, step back. And that will help you see, like, if you're having some trouble with your values, if you're having some trouble with your lights and darks, you know.
So yeah, I know that.
I feel like I've lost some of the warm red I need to have around here. And that's such an easy fix. Look at this. I'm going to take out a little of my Easel and a little of my Cad. Cad light is the jam. And a little glaze. And just very easily. Step back, evaluate. And if you need to, pump the warmth. See that pumping?
Mm-hmm.
You can pump me warmth pretty easily. I think there's a lot of things around painting which is not true, which is that, you know, acrylics are like either acrylics are easier than oils or oils are easier than acrylics. I don't think that's true. They're just different mediums. And, you know, that acrylics do or don't blend, or just it's like crazy mythologies that you can see around paintings. I don't think those are true. Let's build in our waterway. Right? So we're going to want to build in our waterway. And we're doing that because our dock is our foremost object. So you see how this is in our foreground?
Mm-hmm.
So really, how this is going to go is we're going to build in our waterway. And then our next object, believe it or not, are these plants. We're going to get these in. We could also get the birds in about when we get the plants. And then we're going to put in our dock and our poles. And we're going to really focus on the lighting around our rope.
Gotcha.
Because it's very important to this piece, believe it or not. Big, bright number 10.
Yeah, we had some pixelation that was happening there for a little bit while you were
New.
talking, but I think it's coming back now. It's like I think I've got it.
Do we need to re-upload the lesson?
Well, so it's been pixelated on and off throughout the lesson so far, but nothing that has been able to stop it from going.
Okay.
Which is why I haven't completely pulled the plug and reset it.
You're like, I would pull the plug, but I'm not ready to pull the plug.
Well, what it is it's just everything a little pixelated and stuff, which is it's still working. So we're gonna keep it going. We're not losing the stream. So
works for me.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm just putting this furthest away water. And try to think of water as a mirror. I will be reflecting the colors that I see in the sky. And I'm going to be building that all up in some layers. This is maybe a little lighter than I would like. So that's the Alizarin Crimson and a little of the phthalo. And I'm going to be coming back with some of the other sky colors, more of the peaches and stuff like that, up into this. And these weird spots. But right now, I need to get this across here to build up from, if that makes sense. just getting it in right now, and then we'll come back and...
Yeah, I think that, give the...
What I'm trying to do here is keep my waterline as level as possible. If I was doing this painting like for sale, I probably would add tape.
Oh, to make it super level?
To make it super level.
Hmm.
Just to be sure that, I was good there. I'm going to work this up here, which is, again, sort of in these blues, very similar to what I had up there. All right, so just a smidge of the alizarin. We still want it to be blue, and we're definitely going to...
Now, you keep saying phthalo. Did you mean ultramarine?
I do mean ultramarine. Thank you, darling.
Okay. Brenda was like, you keep saying phthalo? Those words mean what you think they mean. So that's probably like, wait a minute. Say the color again, because you said but you... So which one is it?
This is ultramarine.
Because now I confuse myself.
There's a really unusual color up front here, and I'm thinking, I feel like there's a green value up here.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering if I grab some phthalo green. I feel like if I grabbed some phthalo green and worked it into my ultramarine, it would be like, I have some fluid right there.
Okay.
And I also have tubes, so I'll just let you. And I can also, let me test the Indian yellow into the... I think the Indian yellow is going to do it. Sorry, babe. Okay, so what I did is I grabbed a little of the Indian yellow. What I'm thinking about is I'm thinking about color theory, and I'm just going army green but with the Indian aquatic green. Yeah, that's why I like to have two ranges of yellow. It's why I do it. See? Now we're in that kind of weird blue that was there. And that's why I was like, there we go. So it's a weird thing. Man, what blue do I think that is? Now, I've got a lot of water ripples to work with here. I'm trying to get them this range of...
Well, can you do me a favor? Can you take a little sip of coffee here? I'm gonna try to fiddle with some stuff here because the stream is just not stabilizing. So give me just a moment here.
Okay.
Let you put that in
stop
there.
what I'm doing.
Yeah, give me just a second.
I have to work it out anyways. We can re-upload if we need to.
I think it is back.
Is it back?
I think it is now.
The Sherpa's back, and you're gonna be painting.
We hope.
So, yeah, I'm loving this up here. I'm sure you're loving that at home. There was just this slight green value to this close water. It's a reflection of the sky, but it's still going to have some more of that aquatic depth that's going to be affected by those things underneath it, the way the light's reflecting, and so it's nice that we can catch that. I feel. What's funny?
Nothing. I'm just watching I'm watching everyone in chat, and everyone's like, yes, it's back. And I'm watching the stream. It's nice and stable now. It's not all erratic. So things are looking much better.
So really, there's going to be a thing actually, and I might start reflecting it, where the current is kind of coming this way.
No, could you repeat what you said about the green now that
Oh, so what it is that in the sky, right, the sky reflects in the water, but up close, I'm also dealing with different reflections, things under the water. Other things can impact the tone and value of the water. And it's going to be more saturated up close than it is far, far away. And I'm starting to change my directional brushstroke because there's this weird sort of angular kind of current that's coming here and through here. Get a little more of my ultramarine blue. See, this is why I'm like, I love this color. It's a good color. Well, too green. Sometimes you do be like, that's too green. That's like the deep, deep ocean, not this really cool lake. Maybe the lake's just having an algae bloom. You know, so it's just good to think about, you know, some of those things. And so this is what I'm trying to do, is just lay in this first sense of the blue that's here. I'm just letting the brown and the blue, and I'm going to put a little of this color here. We're just starting to put in these values and these colors, and they're going to get thought, like I'm going to scumble back and forth right here because I'm just putting down some paint, and it doesn't need to be. There's a little blue that works out its way out in here. So I'm just, what's happening here is this is just a dusting. Pull this out. Pull it out with the wide of your brush, and pull this out with the wide of your brush. And then dry brush that in. So we're just pulling these colors in. Dip my brush in the water. When I dip, I just get the tip of the bristles in and then take off the extra. That is one of the reasons that my paint goes as far as it does. I have a lot of authority on my brush. Sure, we're going to be. This is one of those paintings that wants a lot of us.
Yes.
It just does. I'm going to rinse this out and let this little buddy have a rest. I'm going to have a sip of my coffee and have a mental rest. You guys like to pick these, like,
it's a
art challenges for me.
It's a challenge.
Yeah.
It's a very...
Well, you know, I noticed that was one of the things that you guys picked in almost every painting you picked, is you guys were like, you wanted paintings that were challenging and visually rewarding and would give a lot back to you artistically. And I really love the last one we did with the moon and the wave and the sunset. I know this one is going to come out really amazing for you guys. And so these are totally worth doing.
Yes.
I don't know what y'all were thinking with the houses, but you know, I'm going to actually, in this particular case, get the Cambridge. This is a number 4 Cambridge.
I think you should dance when you're taking mental breaks.
I should dance when I'm taking mental breaks?
Yeah.
Okay.
From now on, we'll have to make you dance.
I'm like not offended by that. So I'm going to let a little of this green is actually in here, and I don't mind. I'm going to get a little of my Cad red, and then I might even come grab a little of the umber because I don't want it to be so bright. I'm knocking this back a bit.
Now, you used Indian yellow in that green mix.
Yeah.
It was kind of a little patchy there. So
yeah, it was Indian yellow in that green mix. I decided not to go get some phthalo because I didn't think it was necessary.
Okay.
Because the Indian yellow was going to do something similar. So now I'm going to come here and I'm going to start laying in. So if I come up to this right-hand side, I can see that there's a bit of a highlight that comes in right across here. Comes back. Now through here, through this waterway, we've got some stuff afoot.
Some light reflection action.
Yeah, we really do. So we're going to talk about this a little bit. So I'm on the edge of this brush, and I'm going to just patiently and gently stroke to the side. And I'm going to start talking about my corridor of light. I'm going to very lightly over some of this. Just notice how it's just dusting barely any pigment.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we're doing. We're not even playing today. We're painting. You can be like, I didn't even play. I painted on Wednesday. It was a serious biz.
Serious. It's always serious up in here.
Serious biz.
Serious painting business happening.
Serious painting business happening. I'm going to bring this down here between these two fields. Dusting to the left. I'm going to continue dusting over into this. So you can see I'm talking about these values of light. Like you do. And now it's getting to be a thing. See, it's getting to...
It's a thing.
It's getting to be a thing. Paint's also drying out from the heat.
I see another brush. Raylyn is here.
Hi, Raylyn.
I think I saw some other little brushes up here earlier, but I was busy pushing buttons. And
It's a long day for a little brush, though.
This is a lot of painting for a
This
little
is
brush.
a lot of painting.
I think a lot of little
I
brushes.
say yes to you guys, but I don't ever say, like, hey, it'll be super easy. Don't worry about it.
You know, I think a lot of our little brushes like to get the traceables and color along with this.
This is going to have a nice trace.
Yeah. This is so.
You know, so I'm just pulling this down.
Ooh.
Pulling this down. But I hope you guys appreciate that there's that way to, you know, how you lay that in.
Regina and Raylyn are getting ready because Raylyn, the little brush Raylyn, they're having a glow-in-the-dark painting party tonight. So
that's the best kind of painting party.
They're just getting warmed up watching some Sherpa. You know.
Oh, I love glow-in-the-dark painting parties.
So
we haven't done that in so long.
Yeah. We had to pull our bubble machine back out here too.
I know.
It's getting serviced. It got left with some bubble machine stuff.
Sorry about the layers, guys. I should have said this isn't an onion. It's like
it's an onion painting.
It's
many layers.
Onions.
Many layers. And you know what?
Layers.
We have over 693, 694 likes. We have almost 700 likes here, Cinnamon.
This is I'm
they
so
like
glad that you guys are enjoying
this. They seem to like it.
Let me tell you, if I had said people want to learn how to paint like this on YouTube, people would have been like, no. Show them how to, like, thread a bead or something. No. And so, like, I love that you guys are loving, like, these more robust paintings. So I'm just still throwing my light in here. Got to keep throwing my lights in. I just feel that there's this
Lori
brown and this kind of red value here. See that right there?
So Lori has a quick question here that's actually kind of interesting because I do this myself on occasion.
Oh, yeah, this is what I was looking for, the brown and the Cad red light.
So if, you know how like sometimes I'll go in and I'll start washing your brushes out and I'll leave them with soap in them?
Yes.
Okay. So if like you accidentally took one that had soap in it and got paint on it, would that ruin, like, you
It doesn't ruin your painting. I mean, a lot of soap is not ideal in your painting.
But it's
not going to ruin your painting.
Okay, so just don't.
It's why there's a whole bunch of people who are like, oh, I totally add soap to my paint to improve flow, and it's because it doesn't like outright just damage.
It's
the art.
There's.
I wouldn't do a whole lot of it. like
acrylic is an amazing resilient material.
Yeah.
But it's not bulletproof.
Yeah.
So you have to take care of it, especially when you're trying to be when you're approaching it from an artistic standpoint, where you're looking at its longevity, its color fastness, its performance in people's homes. You know.
Dusting this sort of. See that there? Isn't that nice?
Yeah. So yeah, it's not gonna hurt it just for a little bit to be in there, but it's probably not a good idea to make a habit of it.
And you got to remember when you're watching videos on the YouTube. I mean, you can just. It's wonderful because anyone around the world can turn on their camera.
It's self-moderated.
It's self-moderated, which means somebody could be like, I totally paint with gunpowder.
But you can
and you
do
can.
that. But
and he's not even obligated to say, and you probably shouldn't paint with gunpowder either.
But yeah, it's like, you can do anything. And
you want to on the YouTube.
If you have a hydraulic press, you can crush things.
That's right.
Doesn't mean it's a good idea.
It
just
might
means
be
it's
a great
cool to
idea,
watch.
but I'm just saying, like, there's no oversight of any kind.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to be, like, as a viewer, sort of like, maybe the painting didn't explode, but it's still not a great idea.
Yep. I like the hydraulic press channel.
But nowadays, the painting could explode, so, And then sometimes we'll be like, this guy is, like, this master painter from Asia, and he's, like, developed this whole painting with firework powder, and you're just thinking, yeah, but I'm not him.
Well, there's I've seen the guys from Asia who paint with gunpowder. There's also there's a couple of guys here from the States that are like
really good, but I'm not them.
Yeah, they're like, but they do very traditional American hunting images like deer and
Doesn't make it safe though, just because they made a video of it. I'm sure there was a lot of learning curve there.
Well, I'm sure they have some very practical safety measures that they take for themselves.
Yeah, I think so. So I just wanted to get this color into the water. You can see that happening there.
Mm-hmm.
That's like just a color I really wanted to get into the water. And then I kind of really want to get this deep color. There's this deep faraway color into this water too. And I'm going to just take this little brush and I'm going to, I know this seems fiddly, Those of you guys that love fiddly, though, you're going to be like, oh, it's my jam. We're just going to make these little furtive brush strokes. See these little furtive brush strokes?
Mm-hmm.
We're just, this is not dissimilar to Van Gogh's dab, 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 dab. If it gives you joy, say dab, dab, dab. I'm all good with that. This is the dark color that you get with the Ultramarine and the Alizarin Crimson. And this is Cambridge Bright. If you're not getting a nice dry, you can always just switch to a smaller brush. See that?
Mm-hmm.
I just want to be, let's have that look right. Okay, so they're starting to show up as those. This was part of the composition.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to lose it for time. My whole I'm saying this is how I paint this painting. It's like declared day. One, because I had some time off. And I need to do some painting, right? It's just been a long time since we've done live together, right?
Yeah.
Live and time. Right, so now I'm getting that sort of tonality that I need to get this after. I'm going to here and I'm going to do a similar dark. I'm going to just, if it gets too deep, you can always even add up if you over softening the brush. And I'm just dabbing little. You guys had to get some wonderful wood in here, and then I'm going to show you how to paint this rope where you have some stunning lighting.
Okay, so now it says it's back. Hopefully it will stay that way. So I was fixing and doing all the checking, so it seems okay now.
It's okay now?
Yeah.
And we're holding on. I'll tell you what, live is really trying to throw everybody off lately, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's getting to be harder and harder to do the live. And I wonder how that's going to affect all of us in the future. But as long as we can work it out, we'll keep trying to teach this way because it's a good way for you guys to learn how to paint.
Mm-hmm.
So how's everybody feeling with this piece? What's their pertinent thought process question or anything?
So far, everybody's really loved this. So and what did you guys miss? You didn't miss anything other than Cinnamon recapping where we're at. So I just made sure that
He made me stop.
I made her stop whenever I see it goes real bad and we reset.
I'm going to dust a little bit, just a smidge of this into this little spot here because I want to show this reflection. Sometimes that's what I do. I'm like, and I see another one here. I'm going to just dudge the dust. So sometimes it's about having these soft, super crazy reflections.
By the way, everyone would like to let you to know that they love it.
I'm so glad.
They think it's stunning. Wow, there's a lot of people who think it's really, really nice. First of all, we've got over 400 people who've been bearing with us through this.
You guys are pretty great.
Yeah, and everybody's really loving the painting. This is really nice.
I love to paint like this. It's very relaxing. So I have a thing. I feel like what we paint impacts how we feel. And sometimes it can be an expression of taking how we feel inside and putting it out. And so you might be painting different things. But sometimes it's about taking outside feelings and getting them in. And a painting like this, to me, like in this moment, it's like taking this vacation, which I don't really have the luxury to do. And so I'm taking this vacation. So hopefully you're taking this vacation with me. If that makes some kind of sense, I think.
Yeah, I think it did.
All right, so I'm going to pull some more Indian yellow out. And then I'm going to smidge of my ultramarine. I could have done my purple too as another way of graying it. See, it'll gray it. And then a bit of my Cad, Cad red light. And I'm going to start getting in some of these highlights in my water. Here we go. We're just gonna, I'm very soft with my brush pressure through here. That's what you're gonna see me be doing, is being pretty soft. Now right down this corridor, I'm going to take even some of this light color here, pulling this out. You know, and you can even take some of this out into the water out here. See, into the ripples. But I'm just pulling this corridor. This is an important space here, down the water. Let's get a little more white into our brush. Just dusting this out. Now, interestingly enough, there's sort of a highlight dust here, and there's a darker center. And I'm going to just, there's this little space here where it's kind of starting to work together. And we're going to be layering these into each other. Can you see how my brush is just lightly releasing the pigment? Just lightly. And then there's going to be some real detail work here, but we're going to put in the groundwork of that. I might add a little of this. Here, let's come over here. Get a little of our yellow, a little of our red, get a little of your purple, to gray it. And then we're going to just keep just layering this. Glazing medium is another really powerful tool. Right, I'm just going to, I'm going to have to come back and add some blue definition here, but I'm just trying to pull this warmth. This band of warmth here needs to look right, and so we're going to have to just work it till it works. Work it till it works, chickadees. Warm it up. Warm it up. All right, I need to look at my... So I'm starting to pull that warmth in. I'm starting to get that space in. Maybe like through here. And then we're going to start, there's these little... So in water, directionality of a stroke actually really starts to matter at some point. So right now, I'm not only worrying about value, I'm thinking about how these brush strokes present in the space. I'm just letting things be soft, because water is soft and blended. That's one of its little jams. So you've got to get that soft blended space with it, or it just doesn't pull together at all. Just keep pulling this down. And then I think I need a little more of my Cad red into it. Even right here. And often lighter than you think. This is what I find I'm contending with very often, is that I need lighter than I think. Lighter than I believe. And so I'm like working the Cad red light, the Indian yellow, and my white, and then whatever its complement is, so pretty much its complement is the purple I have over here, or at least the ultramarine. Just keep. Warming that up. And then I got to look back. So I'm starting to get it. It's crazy how you get it, but you're starting to get it.
Starting to feel it.
Starting to get it. So I'm going to put this down for a while. I'm going to rest my brain from this set of problems, and I'm going to work the details of this up through here. Because I've got to give my brain a rest from this set of water area. So, no, it's like a thing I'll do. I'll be like, I need a break from that set of problems, so I'll work this area of my painting. And I'm working again my number 2 bright. And one of the things I'm going to do is come right from the back of this canvas with my Cad Yellow. And I'm going to be just dashing, 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 dashing these strokes. They're not going to be like smooth strokes because they're rippling on the surface of water. So I'm looking at the shape and also the texture. And here I'm going to be coming around. I will work. And being able to express this is what's going to pull this piece together for me in a way that I really like. See how that's coming?
Oh, yeah.
So a little brighter right here. Just making sure that this dark doesn't vanish. So even though it has some reflections, it needs to actually have a little shadow. It's an interesting thing. And then I'm going to get a little white on the brush. And there's going to be a couple spots in my reflections that are heated up to the white space. This has got to be a super light touch when you're doing it too. Let me see how I'm going. How's light? Is the touch light enough? I can't see.
I think it looks pretty good.
It's looking okay.
So there's you zoom in on it and see it. And it's like, yeah, it's pretty good.
It's looking okay. It's okay. It's all right. We're just working it, working it, working it. Just pulling this, pulling this, pulling this, pulling this. So one of the colors and interesting things is that we've got this sort of peach through here, coming towards the dock to about here. So I'm going to get my Indian yellow, a little of my Cad red, maybe a smidge. See how I just get just that amount? It's like I'm graying it out. I don't want to lose it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to just, that is exactly the color I had been looking for here. Sometimes things look like they're just simple fields of color when they're very complicated dances between hues and value. And so people kind of get into a painting and they're like, oh, I'm going to do this. And then they're in it and they're like, this is so much more involved than I thought it was going to be. So I took the ultramarine and added it to the peach because I've got these reflections that I've got to start talking about up here. And I need to start painting those into the water. Here I'm going. Too much, too white. Go back into, and that'll happen, and it's a real easy fix. I'm just going to come back with a little pigment over it. So see how it was the peach and then I got enough blue into it to get it back into a blue-green hue?
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm doing. I'm going to just dust. And as accurately as you can, I'm going to take these down at an angle. Just a little of this water reflection. And then there's definitely some right here. And then there's some that's happening. This is how the water is like a mirror. You're painting, not water, not something that's see-through. You're painting what you can see, which is always the reflections. And you're painting the reflections of the mirror. See, I'm just trying to talk about the mirror. I'm going to come over here. This is a little more peach in my assessment, so I'll just dust a little of that into my brush. I'm going to come paint some of this right here. Very light dry brushing. Just pull some of this in and it's going to come at an angle downward. And so now it's starting to seem like, oh, it's sort of blowing. Okay, I've got it blowing. There's a wind blowing across the water because sometimes the wind doesn't blow straight in. Wind does its own thing. Sort of rude like that.
Now, you've been using that glazing medium throughout this because you have a really hot studio, right?
Yeah, this is actually, for me at this point, it's not even for blending. It's because my studio is so hot and so inhospitable as to really present a problem. And I'm just trying to keep sitting here and messing and talking about the water and the... Look at that. So how are we doing? Sip of coffee?
Looking pretty good.
I know, it seems like we've been in
This
the
is
middle
pretty awesome.
range is the one that's like the thing. Maybe can I get a cup of coffee and you can give me the chat and I'll answer questions?
I can totally do that. So,
John's going to give me the chat for a second. So if you're here on the replay, this is live and I'll be answering questions while he makes me a cup of coffee so I can be powered up for the next part of this painting. The whole thing is going to look crazy.
I have to be able to go do this. I have to go.
And we want
Hit
the
that
bottom
button.
half to be as good as this top part,
And
right?
then
So
this button, and then I push that button, and then I have to reach over here to this other button.
button, 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 button.
That button?
Okay, there we go.
Hey, look, I got all the buttons to work.
All right.
I have one more button. This one.
Oh, Alex Mannix wants to know moderator.
Yeah.
So, Alex, we have a bunch of people who volunteer. They work with us to oversee the chat just to make sure that stuff is reasonable, kind of family friendly, and a little bit on track. We're not really that particular, but, you know, nothing, you know. Stephanie of Deliberately Creative is like, I get to chat. I know, it's always crazy when I get to chat. Gail is still here. Space Week is so exciting. I don't know. You tell them when they get back. John wants to make sure you guys know when Space Week is so good. So, Laura Tube says, and yet Cinnamon stands in a hot studio for hours to teach us to paint. Tell her thank you so much. Well, thank you, Lori. It is my pleasure to share this. I love seeing the paintings when you guys have breakthroughs. It just makes it all completely worthwhile. Cinnamon, I will be tagging you in some relay posts. I did a luminary bag for Honor this year for you. That's Colleen. Thank you. Honor was a community member and she's left us and it's really sad. But we're honoring Honor, so. Althea wants to know about the Dragon Fairy painting. Should be tomorrow. So here's a little thing people don't know. Tomorrow, I'm going to a YouTube Creator Day as a panel speaker, apparently. And so that's got to be in the afternoon. So I'm going to try to fit the fairy in the morning if I can. If not, I will schedule her soon. Christine says, I look nice today. Thank you. Yeah, no, the Dragon Fairy, well, we have the fairy face, right? The Dragon Fairy face, but now we're finishing the tonal study. I was like in the middle of painting it, my shoulder kind of went out, and so we're like, okay, we're going to work on our tonal study and then come back. Jennifer says she loves the complexity of this painting, and I'm so appreciative that you guys don't mind when we do a more complex project. I've got some simple stuff coming, but I love when we get to do some stuff. Emily Lyle says her kiddo said hi, so I say hi right back. And Moonshadow says, Sherpa! So that in Space Weeks are their lives. I think this Space Week we'll try to have a live. Mostly it'll be VOD, but we'll try to have a live during this Space Week. And Ashworks is like, it's done? No, just the tonal study is done, and then we're going to do the fairy together. And using water in the underpainting instead of medium or glaze so it doesn't underbind stilling. All right, so basically your paint will have in its instructions how much water you can add to it to modify it before the polymers fail. Generally, it's about 30%. Some paints are less. Some paints take a little bit more, but that's about where it is.
Okay.
Is there anything more about face coming up? Yeah, hopefully tomorrow is an about face. And then the next Thursday, we're going to be back to kind of a believe face project.
Oh.
I was still resting.
You were still resting? Okay.
What is the hardest part about painting wood? Christina, it's the splinters.
Oh, well,
seriously.
She was asking earlier. Yeah.
Definitely. So what I found is, like, if I want it to be really rustic, it's the surface, it's the texture, and I do get splinters and I do get stuff. If I can sand it, it's not that bad. And there's now clear gessos, which isn't a sealant. It won't protect the chemicals of the wood from coming out, but it will help your paint grab the tooth. So that's kind of nice. I like or use this. Yeah, there's some good products out in the world, just from tons of different paint companies all over the globe. There's good paint makers. Mm-hmm. Mine looks totally different because I try not to copy everything you're doing. You guys make of these art lessons what you need. You need to change it up, change it up. You need to change the colors, change the colors. You need to mash it up with something else, mash it up. It's all good. It's really up about your art journey. Rachel wants to know if Golden is my preferred brand. Yeah, but this is really because what I find is I have a lot of brands I like. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the issue is that I don't have access to a brand easily. Like, I know it's a good brand, but I don't have a lot of easy access to it. Sometimes it's just like, I just like Golden because every tube I open is how I expect it to be. And I know if it were ever not, I could just easily contact them and send a picture and they would fix it. Yeah. So that's really all it is. That's the whole end all be all of it. But that doesn't mean, look, like other people like other brands passionately, and they're not wrong. Those brands are awesome too. This is just my passion, and so it's all good as long as it's a company that stands by you and treats you like a good company. Keep losing.
Oh yes, let me fix that.
What can I use if I do not have light? Cad Red Medium, Naphthol Red Light. I'm gonna, so I don't know if John's showing this, but I'm gonna make a couple little chalk marks here very lightly.
Oops, let me see if I can switch
because I just feel like some of my reflections have gotten off scale, so I'm just giving myself a little level line. Are we good, guys?
It's struggling.
It's buffering.
Yeah, we're trying to get.
Tina Smith says she hadn't time to catch a live in a while, so what so happened upon this. It's so beautiful. I'm so glad you got to. It's M wants to know where I got my canvases from. Michael's, but Frederick's is really good.
We're still trying one more time here.
Vid keeps buffering.
Yeah, it's not giving me much.
Generally, if you're on our webpage and in our groups, I like to put things up ahead of time. On Instagram, sometimes I'll put things way out ahead, like really because everybody's painting everything now all the time, and so I'm like, I just like to get my paintings up as I do them, so I can be like, called it.
Oh, okay, it looks like we're okay now.
So Instagram is a great place to follow, and it's just so you'll see things sometimes way out ahead of time where I'm like painting all this stuff. All right, let's keep going.
I think we got it back.
All right, so I'm gonna try to sort of work out some of this stuff here. I'm gonna make a little super purple. More to the red though. All right, there we go. Yeah. Getting a little glaze in it so I can see it. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to just had some of these little reflections. And you can take these as, you know, intense as you want. Any of the reflections or shadows that you've got going. You know, so if you want to add the little shadow that's here, because there's some little shadows here, different places, right? And you can add those in as you see fit. As you like. If you like. If you don't like, I mean, don't worry about doing it. So there's some interesting things here. There's like this light little curve down reflection, and he's got a little friend, and there's another little friend, and then they kind of come like this. So you can kind of just see how the like wind hits things, and you can talk about that. Let's talk about that, like Rhett and Link. So I'm going to just keep adding these darker little dashes to the space, and this is, I'm just trying to pay attention to my reference. I'm not ignoring you, babe.
No.
I'm just explaining my thought process.
You're
I'm not
good.
like, I'm just paying attention to my reference and nobody interrupt me teaching while I'm paying attention to my reference. But that's kind of what I'm doing, is I'm trying to look at my reference and how it's talking about some of these reflections. And water is always so much more specific than other objects. Skies are, you know, just like barely even a thing. And then like water is like, nope, you must pay attention to what we're doing. I want this reflection to be cooler. The ones up front are cooler and the ones farther away are warmer. So more to the red. Just kind of pulling this through. And then I've got another really nice one that's to the blue, like that's going to be right here at the corner. So I'm going to just make sure I pull this. If I need glaze to improve the flow, I'm going to get that. And I'm going to, there's a weird little highlight there that I'm going to make sure I catch, which is going to be a little white and a little yellow. It's just going to be sort of over the top and through some of these. So just we'll see if those came out as hoped. Adding the little highlights here. Just working these. You watch me work. Getting the white into it. So I'm going to just be, definitely need that more blue. Then we'll add some of the Indian yellow to it. So I'm trying to gray it out so it's warm enough to fit into the space. And so when I get it out there and it just pops or it stands out, I add the Indian yellow to try to push it back, which it just did. It just grays it out because some of these reflections are quite gray. Trying to push this little water ripple.
So there was a recommendation that just came up that sparked something that you said earlier that I was saying. Flamingos.
Oh, so happy to do a flamingo.
We gotta do the flamingos.
I'm happy to do flamingos.
I've
got a great flamingo I can do.
I know. It's just been...
And you know, I've been wanting to do a flamingo.
Alex is like, John, are we allowed to use a black canvas?
Yes.
Alex, you're allowed to use any canvas you want. Don't let anybody else tell you otherwise.
Try to use one that's, you know, a canvas that stays on the stretchers. I've just got my reference photo here, babe.
Oh, you what?
My reference photo is there. I can't see the painting from the full view.
Here? Can you see here?
No, it's still just the reference.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay, sweetie.
What you're saying, you need that. That's what you mean right there.
I need that.
You need that button pushed.
I need that button pushed. Push some buttons.
Emily's like, can we have some music?
Can we have music?
We have music.
Do we need a dance?
We always have music. But
no, we don't want to have music on the whole broadcast.
No, but we should.
A little dance?
We could put a little music on.
Are we getting through this thing? I can't tell.
I think we are. I got to turn on that.
All right, well, look, it's starting to have some water reflections. I think the area I've got to soften is from here through here.
Yeah.
That's bugging me. It is pretty harsh there as well, but I just want to knock it back. And
Yeah.
I can't help myself. I have to do it. I'm going to put out some more of my engine yellow, which is not real. This is always going to be hue.
Yeah.
Because nobody is collecting buffalo peat anymore.
No. Well, I mean, maybe somebody, but not, like, we're not using it. That's expensive paint. That's
that would
very
be.
expensive
I'm going to grab
paint.
some of that blue I mixed over there, gray this. I'm going to get some yellow into it.
And, I will say that we've had a really great crowd out here with us today.
This right here.
So thank you guys for coming and hanging out with us. It's been really nice. And
It really has.
We love the dancing and the carrying on, and that's just here because we like to celebrate being with you guys and having a good time. So
it's a nice way to spend some time.
Yeah.
All right. So hopefully, is this softening it out, babe?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So what I'm doing here is I took this lighter value and I'm just trying to soften. Even though in my photograph I had kind of a hard line, sometimes I gotta see it far away. Sometimes what happens is that when you're looking at it, you're like, this line is too harsh. And I, as an artist, have to recognize that in my painting, unless I'm doing hyperrealism, I'm gonna have to deviate hardcore from the painting. I'm gonna get a little more of my Cad right on here.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna make sure that there's a nice.
They're wondering how this would look with colored pencils. It would look
beautiful.
It would probably look really cool. Probably in crayon too.
Yeah, good crayon, good color pencil, good all that.
So you're gonna Sherpa dance for these guys or what?
I don't know. I guess I am.
You're gonna Sherpa dance. They want to see you dance. They want to. I don't mean I'm putting this cinema on the spot. They're like, are you gonna dance or what?
Pretty much, but dance, Sherpa.
You know what though? Sometimes it feels like that. We're just, we all have that sometimes where we just don't ever mean to come across the way we do, and that just is. We have those moments.
It's okay.
But it is. It is. It's one of those days where it's like we're all.
I'm just trying to get us out of here before it's 5 o'clock.
Oh no, I know.
It's a big painting.
It is a big painting.
It's a big painting.
And
we don't do those very often, but every once in a while we need to just sit back and do a more involved painting so you guys can see what goes into it. For those of you that are in that journey to take it to that next art place, it's really helpful.
And I think what it is for me is I'm capturing the energy from the room where everybody here is. They're all dancing. They're just so you know they've been dancing and having the party, and I want to thank you guys. Thank you very much for this. We really appreciate it. And for those who are at home who can't dance, they're wiggling their fingers and they're wiggling their toes so they can play too.
That.
So they're telling me. So. But we do have a long painting, so we're gonna.
We do. So I'm like dogging on it.
No, you are. You're the painter.
I know. It's like
I'm
like we will do this painting.
That's what we're supposed. We're gonna get there.
So I'm adding a little of my Indian yellow to my ultramarine. Sometimes people will think that ultramarines don't make beautiful colors, and that's not true. The reason landscape painters use it is because it makes beautiful colors. It just might not make a Kelly green with a Cad yellow, and that's all it is. But it makes a beautiful green. Kind of a marine green with an Indian yellow.
It's also good that we have 20 years of marriage to be able to get to know that when I say, dance, Sherpa, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty, I know where you sleep, so we're good. Never worry about me. I know where we sleep. Well, 20 years, huh, babe?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's cool.
I mean, that's a beat the odds, isn't it? It's hard.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's not hard. Just it's not easy.
I think it is very brave and hard to commit to family and to do kids.
Yes.
I think it's also hard to do single executive. I think it's probably all hard. There isn't one that's above, and it's just different journey.
Yeah. Oh,
I am just moving this marine blue, different values of this marine blue through here, trying to show these gorgeous little water bits. I'm water bitting as my paint is skinning. I'm water bitting as my paint is skinning. I don't know what I'm doing. But do we like this?
Oh,
See how I'm doing this sort of brush stroke? And I really love this. This is just one of those. I was really excited to give my mom these because I knew she was really going to dig these because she does this like really kind of thing. I was like, she's really going to love it. My mom was like the queen of like some stuff. You don't need any more info there, right?
I was just reading over here in the chat. Just someone was like, "Can I have the Sherpa's number?" So I've got the Sherpa's number. I know what her number is.
Can I have the Sherpa's number?
It's 8675309.
You did not just do that. You're a cheeky bugger.
But it is.
Huh? You see, I'm just increasing the blue down here. Now I know I'm going to have a rope in front of here. I know I'm going to have like a lot of detail, right? And so I'm just thinking about, yep. The only thing I don't like is that.
So the little brown.
So I'm going to knock it back is what I'm going to do. Watch me knock it back with a glaze. You bug me, so I'm gonna knock you back.
Oh, so they were just asking about the little brown ones, and those were just some reflections of like some stuff in the sky.
Yeah, it's in the photo, but when I did them, I feel too dark.
Yeah.
And then they became too prominent in the piece, and so now I'm just saying I don't like you, so I don't care that you're here. You don't work in my thing, and you've got to go. Let's see how that's. Oh, getting much better. Okay.
Apparently that was Jenny's number.
Yeah, that was Jenny's number. Actually, it was somebody's number, and now they can't give that number to anybody ever.
It's true. If you were to look up the history on that number, it's really quite funny.
It just messed up that number. That poor band's like, I think I got a good song idea. And then the phone company's like, you saw so much.
Which is probably why you can't get that number.
So hopefully that pulled it back. And so sometimes you look at something and you'll be like, I ain't digging it. I am, however, digging this blue up front. Are you guys kind of digging this blue up front?
Oh, yeah.
And I can't believe we've gotten through this lake.
This lake.
I feel like I've swum through the lake to get here. Just saying. A little Indian yellow and some ultramarine blue. And here's a color mix you just didn't know you could do. Because it's you know, it's very interesting. Artists get real set in their palettes. Sometimes that's why experienced artists will still take workshops with other artists, is because you get so set. This is too blue. So what I'm doing is I'm touching my canvas. I'm like, nope, it's too much. Not enough. It's too. There it is. I'm like, oh, there you are. And I'm going to let this go into where I know I have my dock. Mostly because I know I'm going to be painting over it with wood. The wood's probably going to be the most relaxing and easy part. Oh, wait, I don't even want to say that, because if I say that, then it'll turn out it's not. And then everyone's going to be like, you caused it. You shouldn't have said it was easy. So I'm just grabbing some more ultramarine blue, and I'm just pulling this. See how this is just sort of like a little brush stroke, and I'm just showing the little water.
Oh, yeah.
As it's moving through the lake, as the wind is hitting it, because that happens. I'm so happy to say that I get to do something super easy, like add these birds.
Get some birds in there.
Do we want some birds?
I think we could put some birds
Do you
in.
want some birds?
Some birds and a dock.
I'm going to have a sip of coffee, and then I'm going to paint some birds.
Birds and a dock.
Some birds.
Yeah. So how's your coffee? Feeling better?
Coffee always. Look at, see, this is my mug. Coffee always helps me.
Good.
Yeah, coffee helps me. All right, so this black has clearly dried on me while I wasn't paying attention to it.
It does look
And
like
that happens
it is
to me
cured.
in my journey. So I'm going to pull out this black.
Put some fresh out.
I could use my black gesso, and you can tell I haven't been cleaning this correctly, because look. Peel that and put that to the side. Some press out, squeeze down, push off. Close the cap inappropriately, I'm sure. All right. Now I'm going to find a little detail brush.
A little detail brush.
Yeah, so this is like basically like a number 0 round, except it's short handle. And I'm going to load a little black on the tip here. I might just to make sure that this isn't just super standing out. And oh, so what I'm doing here is I'm dipping in the water and I'm swirling around. I'm dipping in the water and I'm swirling around. And then I'm going to roll off my brush. And this is going to improve the fluidity of my paint so I can pull a small liquid bead. And I'm going to come here and for sure, I don't necessarily want every bird, but I would like some of these birds. And I don't want them messing with my sky, so I'm probably going to put this little bird here. It can be here, little bird. So I'm going to give a little bead for the head. And then I'll take a little body off. He's got a little round sort of body. Oh, he looks crazy now. Right now, a lot of people panic. Don't panic. Then we're going to go little tail, flick, flick, flick. And then a little teeny tiny, oh my gosh, I don't even know I can see this smallest beak you've ever painted in your life. Bring up a little wing. A little wing. Yeah, it could have been shorter. Actually, so I really feel like that could have been a little shorter. So I'm going to get my brush wet and I'm going to erase. See how I did that? Now I'm going to drag the water out of my brush. This is a little technique I learned from watercolors that works on acrylics. So the paint underneath is dry and I can come back with water, clean water, and erase it, and then use the absorbency of my brush to pull it back out. You might have not known there was a redo button on your paint, but there is. So I just don't want such a, there we go. So sometimes that's like a thing. And I think I'll just pull some little feather strokes out. I need some flight feathers because, you know, that's how flight happens. That's how flight happens. All right. And I'm going to come get a little more black paint. Now the other wing is sort of interesting. I was like doing this little far one. So it's going to come from the back of the head. I like to curve it a little bit forward. And there it goes. It flicks out. So, I mean, you could do the little M's if you wanted to. But I like to do these two. And I'm just trying right now to decide how many birds I want in my sky. One thing I'll tell you is if you're going to put a flock of birds in your sky, you definitely want to make sure that they have sort of some different flight bodies. All right? Okay. So there we go. We got our first little bird in our little birdie sky. He's a little goof. And I'm going to put another little friend there because I at least want two of these little guys. Have another little friend. But this friend's going to be a little farther away. So I'm going to pick this bird that's a little farther away and higher up. And that's actually just kind of this little weird body shape. I'm looking at that. It's like a little sort of sesame seed body shape. And then he's got a little tail that comes off, and then a little feet that we can see. And his wings are sort of down. And then I'm going to come get this, and then maybe this wing is sort of like up and down. See? So we got these two little birds flying in our far off sky. Hi, Mr. Cooney.
Hello.
So, and you just put as many little birds as you want in there. It's just really up to you. Now, the other thing that I want to do is I want to put in some grass. Grass. So I'm going to put in a little of my blue. And you can even grab a little of your Indian yellow to this. That's okay. These hues, these undertones, which seem like they're invisible to the eye, are actually not as invisible as you would think. And you can come here and you can make some nice little, like there's a little line coming to a joint.
There we go. Okay, there you go.
A little line coming to a joint. I like to get these first lines in with a more delicate brush. just because it can be really hard. The brush I like to do the leaves with might not necessarily always be the brush that I want to put the stem in with. So see how I'm just getting this nice fine line? That's all I need to do is get some nice fine lines. And some of these can like cross each other. These are some weird little grasses. Some weird little grasses that come up here and might grow. And when you have grown some weird little grasses that you feel could grow, you can always come and swirly, swirly, swirl. And then, whoop! That didn't happen.
What happened?
The hairdryer fell down.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah. Didn't go in the water. And that's the big thing. So I'm going to plant this brush stroke and then pull that out. I'm going to plant this and then pull that out. So how I'm doing is I'm pressing in, and then I just sort of release it. And that's how I'm getting those different little shapes. And I'm going to come here and make that little grass. So I'm going to give this guy a bunch of weird little leaves, because I'm ornery like that. And I'm going to really enjoy this part of the painting. Actually, I'm more into this, weirdly, than the birds. Not that I don't love birds, because you guys know I love a bird. I'm going to maybe break that leaf. See? You know, you can come down here, and wherever there might be a little joint, you can always even make different little leaf shapes. Make a little leaf shape. There might be a leaf shape in your heart that you didn't know was hiding there your whole life. So another thing I'm doing is I'm scraping my paint and rolling up my brush. See how it's gotten up into the ferrule though? I don't want to leave it there. It can really limit the life of my brush, so I'm going to get that out even right now as I'm painting. Another little bead. Some of these little grass leaves can be smaller. There's just a lot of them. So that's just what you've got to remember, is that you've got a lot of these little grass leaves to make. And that these are not even, they're kind of crazy little bits. But isn't it fun once it starts to come in? Grass, 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 grass. You gotta love your grass, 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 grass. You can layer them over each other. Just enjoy planting your leaves. And it's really about pressing in the stroke and releasing it. You're going to get this within, you're going to need a good detail brush to get it. And you're going to need to have made your paint fluid enough to flow off the brush, which you saw me do with water. If you really have trouble getting that, you can always buy fluid or flow paint. How are we liking the grasses, John?
Pretty good.
Pretty happy with those?
Yeah.
I like just planting these weird little bits of things. Just enjoying them. And having these strange little sort of crazy little lines. And the rope. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about the rope. You're like, why is this girl so excited about a rope? I'm so excited about the rope. You're like, I'm probably kind of excited about the wood, but you know, if you want to be all excited about a rope. But I am. Just adding all these grasses. Happy little grasses growing up, being weird. See, just little grasses. Sometimes they bend down. Is the stream still going?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you're just so quiet.
I'm just watching.
Usually
sometimes.
you only get that quiet like when the stream's not going, but you don't want me to stop painting, and so you're like,
Oh no, I
we're
was just
all
actually
still
just watching.
here.
Actually, everything's going pretty good. We got all green lights, so everything's looking pretty good. Stream's pretty solid. We're just sort of. I sometimes I just get caught in watching you and reading the chat. So it's just kind
hard
of
just watching my grasses because they need to look, you know, kind of ephemeral and they're like kind of like little musical notes in this composition.
just little grasses there in the lake.
Yeah. Kind of like a little reed. Who doesn't like a little reed? Probably this guy that has this dock. The guy that has this dock probably has such negative feelings about these reeds. Oh, it's so true. I'm going to put a layer of dark paint here over our deck so that I can paint in the wood. So I'm going to take what I have here.
Oh,
already.
I think that they're saying that there's a bear in the palette, and I see it. So if you look straight down, there's in the yellow. There's the ear in the upper right-hand corner.
Oh, I see
and the
him.
nose.
Hi, little bear. You guys are so funny. You always notice the stuff.
I thought that was pretty clever. I was like,
That
oh,
is
look,
pretty
a
cool. So I'm
bear.
just dry brushing down this dock. Right. You know, and this is going to be, even for me, this is the more challenging thing, is getting these foreshortened boards to the water line. And that's what we're going to be doing. Getting the foreshortened boards. I'm taking my burnt sienna and my black, and I'm just making sure I've got the darkness. Not the band, but the color.
Oh, it's buffering.
Buffering?
It's buffering.
Oh, okay. I'm just checking to make sure that they're foreshortening as I paint
I'm gonna
out.
debuffer the buffering while you're checking that.
Yeah.
Can you give me just a moment to debuffer
I have a
the
moment.
buffer?
I could use some fresh oil. And I am pondering my foreshortened boards, which is always, you know, whenever you're getting into perspective, you're always in. Hey, can I have another jug of water?
Yes, I'll do that for you.
Oh, okay. That's right. You only have 2 hands. I'm sorry. 2 hands. So much easier to understand. So we're getting through this. We're going to have another vote coming up pretty soon inside the TheArtSherpa official group. I think we're going to talk about what we want to do over fall. You know, get that sort of in, because you guys always have a lot of suggestions. And how I generally do it is you guys share pictures that you'd like to paint. Those that get upvoted a lot, we make into a final vote. And those that, oh, thank you, sweetie. Those that are really, really liked, I turn into painting tutorials. Now, either I can license the image y'all found legally, and if I can, I'll use it. And if I can't, I will design something in a similar topic and lighting and color scheme. That's a whole different original painting. And it's a really fun way to plan our content and also make sure that in the middle of my crazy Sherpa, I think I want to paint all these things, I'm doing stuff that you guys really want to paint as well. And I really like making sure I'm in a constant conversation with my community just to make sure that the art that you're getting is the art that you're wanting. Otherwise, it gets a little weird. Like Shark Week. I'm going to keep painting in my thing.
Okay, we're back.
Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. I'm just trying to, I feel like, I'm going to take my T-square here because I have this feeling, and I'm going to check my feeling. And I was right. What is this? That's what's wrong. So what I'm making sure is I'm making sure that my deck is square. Look at me go. Ha! That's how I fix that. That's how that's done. And I'm just getting this darker layer of paint in because we're trying to create some very rustic wood. And I'll probably come back with my ruler, because I rarely just trust myself to get that and measure, like, you know, I'm going to have this wood and then this wood, and, you know, there's this piece and there's that piece, and just make sure that we've got the wood going to the foreshortened, pre-prescribed place that it should be. And then we'll put some upward facing boards like you do. And then as soon as I have that done, I can put in my poles and my rope. And the rope gets to be something that really shows the lighting on the scene. So that's why I'm kind of excited about it, because I'm excited to show the lighting on the scene. I'm very weirdly excited about that. I am. I'm just, this does not need to be perfect, and the brown can be showing through a lot. What you're trying to get is the directionality of your brush strokes. Like you do. Like you do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, perfect. Yeah, that was George of the Jungle. You heard it. I feel like I made a boo-boo right here, so I'm going to get my brush clean. And I'm going to go erase. See?
Ah.
You can erase acrylic paint. And now I'm going to disappear for my hair dryer. And I'm back.
There you are. So, while she's doing that, I will say, hey guys, how's it going? So, that's pretty exciting. Cinnamon is drying paint, and we can watch paint dry, and that's not terribly exciting. So, I don't know what else to say, but thank you for coming and being with us here today. It's been a crazy one of those broadcasts where we've been trying to fix things and keep them going and pushing buttons. Look, I can push a button. Push that button. I can push that button. I can push this button. So that, that's really all I do here is push buttons and and remind you guys to come hang out with us and share your pictures, which is, oh, you give her a volume.
That plan.
You like that plan?
I like that
That's
plan.
my general plan.
So I'm going to come up here, and I've got to basically make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boards of wood. Now this side of the dock has this rope that goes along it, so this is going to be at first a weirder foreshortening, because this little corner here, and I'll show you where it is, isn't really going to be like, I might have to maybe go like this. There, I'm going to go like that. So basically what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to talk about my foreshortened wood. Hopefully I'll get this in correctly. I could actually measure it out, but no, I'm going to go by. So I'm just going to come here, kind of give myself some guides. So when I'm doing these rough brush strokes in, Sweet Caroline, no content ID me. Now, there's this weird little bit here that the rope is going to move along, and I know that. All right. So I'll kind of paint it in, but it's really just to hold the rope. So see how now we have those planks going? Now we're going to want to break some of these planks and say that they were layered in different lengths, but we still have to kind of keep the foreshortened perspective. And we're going to use our bristly brush to do it. Yes?
Yes.
Oh, okay. You said okay.
I
and
said
I have
okay.
bad news for you that the
No.
thing is off.
Everything's working fine.
All right. I'm going to take my burnt, no, this is my raw umber and my blue, and mix them together. And they're going to make a very great, awesome washed out gray that's super woody. It's like the best aged weathered wood ever. I'm going to put out a little more white because I've certainly worked that white into oblivion. See how that's just like aged wood? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I do. I don't know, maybe. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to say like this plank, I'm going to take to like maybe here, right? And I want you to just to give this like some wood. See like these little brush strokes back and forth, little woody. Let's get some more of that. Some of it can be more brown, some of it can be more blue. And then I think this last plank is weirdly actually quite long. I'm going to come across here on the tip of my brush, tap, tap, tap. And I'm going to just, this is sort of like this little zigzag stroke, and I'm just making uneven patterns that sort of show my wood texture. Little wood texture. Little wood texture. There's a rope here too. We need a little more blue in it. You can get a little more blue in it. What you want to leave, if you can see, is some of these darker values. Now I'm going to come and do another little bit of wood. Like you do. If you feel like it. And this one, I think, is going to come back actually to here. I'm going to just back and forth. So it's like a little more blue. And I'm just wiggling the brush back and forth. There we go. Maybe this little part of the board comes back. It's a little more ashy. So I'm going to come across. Now I'm going to come back even possibly with some more defined dark, because I feel like this could even be more dark. We'll see how it reads after it's all over. And I feel like this little one is more brown, so I'm grabbing some more brown. So I'm just working this dry brushed wood texture. Its friend next to it, I'm getting a little more of the blue mix on there. And this one actually ends at a very similar spot. Just doing this kind of back and forth wood texture. Notice how each time I do it's sort of like different. This is like you're painting laminate. You're telling this story. You might even grab a little Indian yellow into that grade mixture. Just changing it up every time. Zigzagging up and down. You can just see my little hand moving back and forth, leaving some of this unpainted and some of it painted underneath. And you can see how each beam is just a slightly different value. Surprising.
I like it. I like it.
Now this one we're gonna get crazy tricky. This one here and his friend are gonna end up here. Then they're gonna go. This one's gonna go to here. But then this one's gonna go the whole way down, like. Yeah. Sometimes the pattern gets crazy. Just telling the story.
And sometimes they just put together a dock with the wood they had.
Well, that's what's happened here, right?
Yeah.
This is the wood they have. But this helps you as an artist sometimes. When they do things like this, then you can lean into that. And it will let you tell the story that you need to tell as you need to tell it. This beam might be a little more blue. You know, and listen, you can make knots in your wood. If you want to have a knot, you can have these all be long grain. You can have knots in there. This is your deck. So feel like you can absolutely work your deck how you want to work your deck. Just telling that little story. And this one actually was this weird down here. Just back and forth. Got a little more yellow on there. So I'm just trying to make sure that the planks have all kind of weathered out at different time frames. Just giving them slightly different but similar weathered aspects. You can go through on something like this and then paint the imperfections of the wood. Whatever you feel like you need to do to build your dock in your imagination. I'll build this little one right here. Yeah. So back and forth hand creating this wood texture, and you can see how these layers have come together to work to create. I am going to add just a little bit here for this plank. All right, how's that doing? Let me see.
Wow.
A little dock kind of going off into it. Maybe it's cool. That's what I do. I'm going to coffee. Ha!
So post and a little rope?
It's just posts and the ropes and where the touch.
Oh, yeah?
One little touch.
What's that?
One little touch. Where's my black paint? Where did my black paint? You are, little black paint.
You need a
I'm
more
going to
paint.
get my number 2 bread out, and I'm going to show you guys a cool thing. So one of the things that can make it feel like it has just a smidge more depth is if you get your black and come where you had really noticeable gaps or shadows, you can add those in. Deepen the cracks between the boards. See that?
Mm-hmm.
It's worth the step, is all I'm saying. I know it's been a long day, but there's no point not just getting this whole thing done. We did it with the beach, right?
Mm-hmm.
So same thing. When we do these, we're going all the way in to how we get them painted. All the way. Just that extra little depth is nice, isn't it? So, worth it to put the depth back if you can.
Mm-hmm. And there we go. Hopefully that'll come back up and work okay.
Well, I am.
Let's see what we can do.
Barely. And I mean barely. So barely, barely, barely.
Mm-hmm.
So just a little. I'm using my T-square to make sure that my posts are where I want my post to be. The posts on this side, interestingly enough, are shorter than the posts on the right side.
Mm-hmm.
And assuming there's some sort of docking reason for that, I'm going to just duplicate that. But there might not be. But I just need to know that they're going to be there in some way. And then Just make sure that these are kind of the thickness that I want, and then let's say the rope is like that. It's interesting because this is a really round object. It foreshortens as well as it moves up the dock. What I mean is that it's going to be smaller the further away it is. Plus, the object itself is sort of handmade, so therefore isn't necessarily of a uniform thickness the whole way through its journey.
Yeah, it's some people were commenting on that the stream is a little laggy today, and it seems to be going off and on. It seems to be stable right now, but yeah, it's had some ups and downs today, so sorry for that. Seems like we got a lot of storms across the country that could be affecting things. So sometimes it's here local with us, sometimes it's local in other areas, so thanks for bearing with us while we're doing these live streams. They are...
yeah.
They
So
test your skills.
Painting in the rope now. Right, and I've got it thicker here. And then I'm going to just, as it comes here, I'm going to paint it in and then paint my wood beams in after I have it blocked in. So as you can see, it's thicker as it's closer to me, like the wood planks. And I'm getting thinner as it moves away. And how I'm gonna, there's two things I'm gonna do with this rope. One is that I'm gonna put some really great lighting on it, and another thing I'm gonna do is put some really great texture on it. I have elected to not do the tires. And that might be a huge deal for a boater.
Well, you just want some kind of bumper generally out there. Tires,
Right.
and just, you could,
Yeah,
tires are
I'm not feeling them, and in my imaginary dock world, I don't need them.
Yep.
So that's a decision that I can make as an artist. You may be like, no, my dock is definitely not destroying my boat.
And or you could also put those little, rubbery buoy things that they use for boat.
Yeah. So it could have something else. This is just, it's just what I've got going on, right?
I'm sure throughout time they have used many different things to, moor ships to docks and keep them from bumping.
So I have this basis of the rope, right? This basis of the rope here as it goes up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get its texture in, then I'm going to put my wood in, and then we will have painted this painting, which honestly is kind of bananas when you look at it. So this is very similar to the wood. If you notice it, it's a really similar grayed out color to the aged wood. Apparently you put things outside, they do a particular thing. I've got my number 2 braid here, and I'm going to try to recreate the braid pattern that I'm seeing.
At least imply it.
Imply it.
That seems pretty good.
So that as it's wrapping up here, it has that feeling of, see, the wrapped.
Yeah.
And that's just what I want to do. I want to do that.
The kind of herringbone.
Not that anyone's going to come into my studio and stop me. I'm not like... And as I'm going away, right, my brush strokes will get smaller on the weave, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're foreshortened. Foreshortening. They get smaller as they go away. Just painting these little rope strokes. Little rope strokes. I always love when we get to put the reference in to our picture, because then again, also too, if you're like, I don't like how she's doing that, you can be like, oh, well, I'm going to do it my own way. By the way, I'm never offended. I'm not going to go into your home and check your work. That is not my style. Pretty good with everybody's artwork. Pretty happy with everybody's deal. Just pushing this along. Alright, now I'm going to come along the outer edges where there's some light. I'm going to make my lightest color, and then I'm going to create some lighting on my rope. Just coming outside where I feel like it's going to necessarily see some. Like, oh, a little lighting. It's always entertaining. I don't know why I'm the guy from Family Guy all of a sudden. Okay, so when I have that in, I'm going to let it dry and rest for a minute so that when I put my golden orange up the rope to light it, to make it glow in its space, it really looks good. While I'm waiting for that, I'm going to get my brown and black again. I might even add a little, well, if I have any of it left, I might add a little Cad red into it to warm it up. Trying to create some like kind of woody color. And I'm going to paint in my little wood pillar. And all I'll say about that is just try to keep it as straight as you can. I've got the front of it in an angle. Now, I think these are weird metal things, but that they painted to look like wood.
No, they're actually just wood.
No, I'm looking. Okay, so okay.
They have little wood braces pieces in them, little reinforcement bits.
I'm gonna have to also put out some. I'm gonna probably put out some yellow ochre for the wood highlight. So I hadn't used it any of the painting, but I'm gonna use a little smidge. Just painting in my pillars. A little black again. Maybe this pillar is on the other side of the rope. Okay. Just paint in a little pillar. Because dogs have them. Do dogs have them? Always. I don't know. Probably to tie the boat too. I didn't grow up near the ocean or something here. So this is my furthest away pole, so it's going to be my smallest and shortest, right? Furthest away pole, smallest and shortest. This one's actually going to go in front of my rope. I just decided.
It's really cool.
All right, and then I'm going to hit the next one.
Oop.
It was shorter than its friend across the thing, so I decided to duplicate that. I imagine in life it's those character touches that let stuff kind of take on their realistic elements and things. So I'm going to get a little of my new yellow ochre, yellow ochre, and a little of my umber. And I'm going to do a very similar thing that I did in the dock with my wood texture. See that there? I'm going to add that to my wood. Probably could have just used my Indian yellow, to be real honest, but this is what I'm doing. Just creating these little wood textures. You could do a different wood grain if you wanted to. Now, let's highlight things so that they're aglow in the sunset. I'm going to put out a little more Cad red light. I'm going to just hit, and I think I'm good with the Indian yellow. I don't need any cadmium yellow. So we're going to see how this goes. I'm going to rinse this out, and I'm going to highlight a couple things. One thing I'm going to highlight is sort of the edges of the wood. I'm going to get a little white into that, a little more yellow. I'm going to come right here and just highlight the inside edge of the wood. See that?
Yeah.
Just a little bit of a highlight on the inside edge of the wood. Just a very light little deal. This guy too. Just the inside edge. Bead on the brush, bring it down. And then I'm going to add some of my sunset glowing color to the top of my rope.
Ah.
Hmm?
I said, ah.
Ah, I thought you were like, oh no! That's a terrible idea.
Don't do that. We don't want any color on there. Actually, you can see it on the picture.
Yep.
It was pretty cool.
And it's one of the things that I really loved about this when everyone picked it was that this had some very special lighting. I thought it would be a lot of fun to paint. I think we did it, guys.
Yeah.
I think we
That's
painted
looking
this
pretty
duck.
fantastic. You just sign it still.
I have to sign it.
You have to sign it.
I gotta sign it. I'm gonna get some of my light color. And I think I'm gonna flip it on its corner.
Now you made me difficult. Hold on. You gotta get me up there. Now you gotta.
Oh, it's just this little thing.
There it is.
So I try to do with my signatures is that I want them to be visible on there, but I want them to feel integrated into the painting. So what I'm doing here is making this part of the wood texture. It's light, it's delicate, it's not intrusive to the painting. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
I can't believe we did it.
That was
I
a
was
big
like,
painting.
dude, man, I'm going to do this unrehearsed, just come in there, paint this very complicated stuff. You guys are like, it'll be easy. I'm like, oh yeah, y'all don't see the layers, do you? But see, this is what it is. And so sometimes if you're out and you get a great trip photo and you come home to paint it, you have no idea what you're in for, right? And now you know. Now you know how to paint this kind of sunset. It will never throw you again. You can add docks to everything, and you can use division, taking your reference photo and dividing it into 4 sections like this and your canvas to change the size of objects so that you can paint things accurately from one thing to the next. You don't always have to trust your brain to just miraculously know things.
Yeah.
There's hacks. I don't really think it's a hack, but it's a hack. I guess it's kind of a hack. I could put it in a hack video if I made hack videos.
Yep.
Like how to transfer stuff on a canvas. Hack? Question mark. How'd you guys like it?
I think they all loved it. Everyone is saying they love, 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 love it. And they can't wait to see many, many more. I can't wait to see many more of these.
I kind of like it when the painting feels better than the photograph.
Yeah.
I like it when there's more happening in the painting in some sense than the photograph. It's a good feeling to me. And I really like it when we catch very blended, soft reflections and distances and stuff. So that was really satisfying to me. We have, I think, a couple more of these to do from this collection you guys did. Watch the group for the vote coming up. And when is Space Week, Mr. Cooney?
The 20th through the 25th?
20th to the 25th, and watch to see when I put up the next big art quest. I got some crazy scheduling stuff, but you know, keep your eye out for it. And I think it's gonna be tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
I'm
right.
gonna try to do both. I'm gonna try to do Creator Day and that, and we'll see if I chicken out. I might
We'll
chicken
see.
out. I don't know. I might chicken out. I might be like, "Buck, buck."
Yeah.
All right, you guys, be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and I'm gonna see you with the easel really soon.
Bye-bye, guys.